with a lead clip, loaded with a 3.5 ounce lead. Now if the fish does get in any difficulty, if there is a breakage or the lead gets snagged in anything, it will simply pull off the lead clip. Absolutely ideal, and the fish's safety should be paramount in your mind whenever you attempt to do this. And sticking out the end is the ever faithful quick change swivel, which leads me nicely on to the rigs we're going to use. I have a theory. Everybody wants to do something completely different when we're fishing in the edge. If we expect them to pick a certain bait up out in the middle of the lake, then why not the same rig that I use? And I use this rig for probably 90% of my fishing. Six inches, 25-pound strippable Cortex braid. As robust a material as you'll ever want, and so easy to use. It's very, very simple, easy to strip and easy to work with. The top end is a figure of 8 knot with a loop that attaches me quickly to my quick change swivel. Anti-tangle sleeve neatens it all up and protects the knot. Down to a size 7 SSC hook. It's as strong as you like and it's as sharp as you like, and in the situation I'm just about to get myself into, that's exactly what I need. I've got a small bit of shrink tubing on the eye just to crank it over a little bit and ensure that hook is turning as quickly as possible in the fish's mouth, getting it in position to take hold straight away. I'm a great fan of long hairs, and I know there's a lot of people think the other way, that it needs to be close to the hook, but that is the setup that I use all the time. The hook holes are absolutely brilliant. Onto that hair, I've got a 14mm bottom bait and a little bit of plastic corn. The corn isn't there as a sight bob to attract carp to it. I don't really care what colour it is, to be quite honest with you. It is there to negate the weight of the hook. And couple that with the long hair, everything behaves quite naturally and not alerting the carp to that anything's wrong. Right, one of the big things about stalking is not being prepared when you get into a situation. So before I set out for my bivvy this morning, I've got everything going. I have the bait that I'm going to use. Again, although it is a very special bait, it's nothing. They're boilers. There's 2 different sizes with some chops in there as well, just to confuse the issue for the carp. And I put those into a load of PVA bags. And I tie up maybe 20 of these before I start off, and then I can bait up around them. How often does a carp come across a little pile of boilies dotted around? Normally they're spread all over the place, and it's enough sometimes to add an element of confusion and get you the bite that you want. The last thing to do is go and catch a carp, so let's go and do it. This is the real frustration stalking. There's fish ghosting over the spot, but they're simply not feeding. There's loads of little rudd out there picking away at my braided main line. It's causing the line to flicker and my heart is just in my mouth. And there's also the not insignificant fact that my back and my legs are killing me because I've been stood here for over 2 hours.
Bloody hell, Chilly, what time did you get up this morning?
It's the early bird that catches the worm.
Or in this case, catches a carp. Good fish?
Yeah, it is, man. It's definitely an upper 20. Very, very wide fish, very stocky. It was over so quickly, getting it away from that danger area.
That's the thing when you're fishing snags, you've just got to be almost brutal in the sort of speed to get them from
Again, it all up. So it's carp safety, and I think we need some Chilcott safety now. I'm shaking like a leaf and my heart is really bursting out.
I'll tell you what, I saw a bucket on my way through. I'll fill it up, I'll get the mat primed, they'll come down and help you with the fish, yeah?
Cheers, mate. The beauty of the quick change swivel system, I can just get down, get hold of the hook link, because I'm going to have to take this fish back through the bushes, so I can leave the rod here, saves it getting caught up on anything, and put an extra tension on that hook hold and damaging the fish. So I can stow the rod down here, that can stay there, it's robust enough and it will survive my cumbersomeness. Right, we'll roll the fish down. Ian's just arrived back, so I can
Matt's ready to go as soon as you are.
I can hand the fish over to Ian and we're good to go. Again, although it's a very confined space here, you still got to look after the fish.
Looks like a decent fish as well.
It is.
Up to 20, scrape a 30 maybe?
Maybe, mate, maybe.
Tell you what, after the effort you put into working this swim for the last couple of days, to finally get a reward is blinding.
It's been very, very difficult. I've been watching fish ghosting over the spot, but they just, there's just that moment. I'm sure if I stayed here all night, I'd probably would have caught one.
I'll tell you what, I felt for you yesterday. I was sat here behind you, watching you, scarecrow-like, hardly moving. After an hour, my bum was numb, so goodness knows what you were like stood in the water.
I was in pain.
I believe it.
Right, let's get her out. Let's have a look at her.
Right, if you pass it to me, then you can clamber out and we'll get her up. Yep, I've got it, that's fine.
Okay, shall I take her? And we'll go on, I can bash on through then. Okay.
Brilliant. Matt's ready, mate.
Cheers, Ian, thanks.
You all right, Ian?
Yeah, fine, thanks. I'll come out backwards because I don't want to scrape the fish on any of those brambles. It's a bit big enough for.
That is a nice fish.
Oh.
Upper 20, low 30, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. That is awesome. I'm not going to weigh it, Ian. For me, that was all about the thrill of the chase. It's been so exciting. And just getting someone to pick a bait up has been a result.
That close quarters fishing is always, well, it's extreme.
It's brilliant.
The adrenaline is just, I can see you're on a high.
I'm still shaking now, mate. But yeah, that's a stunning fish. It's so wide. And we'll just pick her up if she'll allow me.
Having the extra length on the rod was a
It was a real bonus. The Warrior, it allowed me to get beyond the marginal trees. And
that was the early morning result.
And that's it. There are prizes for patience in this game. And like I say, we're not going to weigh it. It's a very good fish, but
that's 30 every day of the week to me.
It was just the thrill of it all. That'll do for me.
That was a top bit of angling, Mr. Chilcott. Very sneaky, well done, fella.
Thanks very much
Let's
indeed.
pop her back then, mate.
Let's get her back in the pond. Top thing. Hell yeah. And now, the best bit. Seeing her swim off. Let's get her in to the lake. For me, this is always the best bit, I think. Just to see them swim off strongly. Gonna light somebody else's fire one day. All right, girl. Probably not. There you go. As I say, probably well over £30, but that's not really what that was all about. The thrill of the chase. Right, going back, vowing never to eat another boilie. How good was that? Cup of tea time.
Well, that is one nice start to the day, Steve.
It certainly is.
That looks like a cracking fish. Got to be a 30. How big?
Yeah, 33.5 pounds.
Oh, superb. And where do you have it, tight to the island?
No, it was down the edge of the island there, right on the end of it, under that big tree there.
And what rig? One of your little bottom bait specials?
Yeah, one of my bottom baits. Took away the little bit of rubber this time and just put an half a fluoro pop on there. Size 7 hook, even though the fish got a big old mouth on it. In fact, when I saw it in the mouth there, it didn't look like anything at all.
Oh, cracking fish. Absolutely super. A bit of water on the flanks.
Yeah.
Oh, stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Very clean fish.
And what do you have behind the business end? One of the adaptive camo lead core
Yeah, I
leaders,
was using the Gravel Brown adaptive lead claw, fishing it on a lead clip. Because there's quite a bit of weed out there and there is 1 or 2 snags towards the end of the island. I was fishing it on a lead clip with a lead to dump.
Yep. I know you've got a few other rigs to show, so hopefully we can get them out there and get a few more fish caught, mate.
Yeah, hopefully we can.
Brilliant. Okay, let's get her in the sling and get back.
Right, it might be a little bit tighter, so I'll try and lift her over.
Okay, I've got this side.
All right.
Yeah, lovely.
That's great.
There she goes. Brilliant. Those mats are absolutely perfect for just floating them out, isn't it?
Looks absolutely awesome then, see swimming up.
The size of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely super. Steve, that fish you had this morning, I noticed when you were unhooking it, you had it on a lead clip setup, which has got to be probably the most commonly used system that most anglers use. But here at Fox, we do so many different leads, so many different arrangements. I want you to talk me through what we do and what situation should be using it.
Yeah, the lead clip's up here. As you said, one of the most commonly used setup there is. One of the features of the Fox clip is you put the tape out, it secures the swivel into the clip itself. It stops it coming away from the swivel and running up and down the leader, which can happen with some of the other clips on the market. And then obviously it's never going to do its job. It needs for the tail rubber to release off the back, and then obviously from that position there,
lead pops off, totally safe.
Yeah, ideal fishing situations, snags, in weed. I mean, as you said, it's very all-round, but to be fair, there is other presentations you can use without having to, use a lead clip. Often it'll dump the lead unnecessarily.
I mean, sometimes if you're fishing a big bag or something like
that.
Big
bag, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you cast them with a big bag, it'll often eject it off the back. Sometimes just the violentness of a take. Again, to actually set these as well, if you're fishing in weed, you can, what I like to do is not put it all the way on, so it just comes off very easily. Okay.
I noticed you've got that on the adaptive camouflage lead core leader.
Absolutely awesome stuff. I mean, we brought this to market. Again, it comes back to the soft steel, the camo soft steel, where you're breaking down those sections of colour. So once you actually lay that on a lake bed, there's just no outline of a solid line at all.
But the Pantones are absolutely superb, and it's in a brown and a green.
Brown and a green, yeah. Spent a lot of time looking at different colours, different Pantone references in the water, making sure we got it right. And there's obviously thousands of different colour tones and that, but we feel that we certainly hit the majority of them with this one.
I mean, I certainly use this one over gravel on the rivers for the barbel as well, and it's invisible.
It just breaks
pins
up,
down,
you
it breaks
can't
up
see
perfectly.
it. Plus, there was a little bit of a fad for very fine lead cores, but at the end of the day, lead cores, the idea is it sinks and it sinks like a stone, And obviously it's 45 £, really heavy. And it does its job.
Yeah,
it does its
job.
So,
what do you use other than the simple lead clip?
The simple lead clip.
And when would you use them? I think more important.
Sure, yeah.
The safety sleeve.
Safety sleeve. Brilliant little bit of kit, this. Yeah. You can fish this semi-fixed.
Yeah, just by pushing the run ring over the little lug. And just
exactly.
Locks it.
Tiny little lug on there, locks it into place. Again, if you're casting bags, it may pull back, but you can almost tie a bit of PVA around there anyway, just secure it into place.
Or you can just pop it over and fish it free running.
Exactly. The thing with this is, if you're fishing open water, then you don't need the lead to dump, and you're not going to lose your lead on any cast with a bag or just the violentness of a take.
And that's a different colour of the safety sleeve as well from the original one. Is that a new version?
That's right. They're in green and brown now. They're in these sort of translucent colours.
Brilliant.
Again, we haven't gone mad trying to go for loads of different colours. We've just kept it to the 2 main colours, and again looked at lake beds and what they actually look like.
And the very neat quick change swivel there as well.
Yeah, brilliant bit of kit. All my rigs all basically go to quick change swivels.
And there's been a bit of work done on the colours of the swivels as well, I believe.
Yeah, they're all non-reflective. Same as all the little pairings, the run and rig stops, everything we do now that is metal has got this non-reflective thing, which is brilliant. We're taking all the glint away. We're trying to do it and make it as camouflage as possible. So if you do want to fish it free running, you can just pop it back over the lug, and just cast it in that position. It's not, doesn't matter on the faults, it's not going to pull over that lug. So then you've got your free running
Yep.
setup.
So why would you fish it actually free running as opposed to on a clip or semi-fixed?
Well, one of the reasons a lot of fisheries now are sort of banned semi-fixed and fixed lead setups, so that would obviously be one of the times you could use it. But also, without a doubt, out of all the setups you can do, this has got the best bite indication.
Right.
Especially if you fish it with a slack line, believe it or not, slightly slack line it, and you do seem to get a really good indication. Where we've tried this over fields with different arrangements, it's quite an eye opener that what you actually find out. But yeah, running very good setup.
What's the next one on your list?
Next one on the list, yeah, we got the we've already touched on it really with the safety sleeve, but again, safety sleeve can be used for semi-fixed or free running. This is out and out running setup. As you can see, wide diameter sliding ring on there.
It slides beautifully on your lead core leader or tubing.
Yeah, you can use it tubing or lead core. Little speed link there, just a change over, and size 7 swivel in the front again.
Which
just
fits
pulls
perfectly
straight
into the buffer bead.
Into the buffer bead,
Yeah.
as it does with all the components. Size 7 will go into the safety sleeve, the helicopters, whatever you're using. So it's just a nice standard size. Yeah, you've got the lead on there, little tri-bomb on there. Lovely little lead, that's one of my favourite shapes, but I'll talk a bit more about that later. Yeah.
Very, very simple, but very, very effective setup.
Again, we're looking at the best bite indication you're going to get.
Yeah.
Running setup, so ideal.
I think the last setup you want to show me, Steve, is inline leads.
Yeah, I mean, probably the simplest setup you're ever going to get, really. Very effective as well, because the hooking on these is obviously better because you've got instant feel of the weight there as the hook limp's tightened up.
Yeah.
Setting them up wise, it's simply a case of slide your tubing down the line, slide your lead on, tie your swivel on. It's as simple as that. Connect your hook limp and away you go. One of the things with the Fox leads is, I'll show you on lead core actually. I've got a lead core one set up here because lead core, a lot of people say you shouldn't really use in lines with lead core.
That's right.
Because it's kinking up or whatever. But one of the things with the Fox lead is that
Pulls straight through.
It pulls out.
And that's all in the insert, I guess.
It's a rubber insert, so it pulls out. So even if it's kinked up, it's away. You've got a large bore running through there.
Yeah.
So it's very safe.
Totally safe.
Yeah.
And what about adaptations of the inline? I mean, one of the ones I use is to pop a little shocker bead
Yeah,
behind it, Steve.
yeah. The shocker.
Very
Yeah.
effective,
It
very
is.
effective hooker.
Again, can be fished on tubing or lead core. If you are fishing it on tubing, you've got to remember again that there's going to be a lot of force coming back from that lead there. So I'll make sure I push the tubing down again over the knot of the swivel. But again, can be set up on lead core quite safely because you've got the wide bore there. One thing, if you're ever putting anything on lead core, just make sure it's free moving. This is just a normal standard soft rubber bead. But something else to test as well when you're doing this, always test it when it's wet because it's different when it's dry, but even when it's dry there's not a lot of pressure there to pull that bead up and away.
Again, it pops off,
Yeah,
lead can jettison.
Yeah, and then the lead can just go.
break off.
All right. But yeah, very effective little rig. Like you say, you've got that piece of movement, almost like free running, and bang, you've got the full weight as it hits the bead. You've got the full weight of the lead there. So
Notice that's
very
one of
effective rig.
the tri-bombs again, but I mean, obviously we do a number of leads. Do you want to sort of talk me through the various leads
Yeah,
we do
sure,
and,
yeah.
and the situations you use them in,
Yeah,
Steve?
no problem at all. Right. Well, if I start off by saying we've changed these now. There's two different colours we do. Originally we just had sort of a greeny colour. We now do a green, which has changed, and a brown. And we've tried to do these as a sort of best all-round colours we could do to match up. Again, there's so many different variations, so we've settled on two that we feel blending really well.
It's a lovely camo finish and imprinted on them the weights as
Yeah,
well.
again, something else that people like about our leads is the fact you can actually read, you know, what the weight of them is.
Just doesn't wear off.
It's it, yeah, it's so heavily embossed, and the way they're finished as well, it's like a paint finish, but it's got a rubberised finish over the top of that,
Right.
which stops them from chipping. And again, the swivel's the same, so there's again no glint, anything there. There's no, you know, brass loop or anything like that. It's
And
like
this is the extra set which you're going to use for extreme distance fishing, helicopter rigs.
This is an out and out distance lead. Lovely shape. I mean, really nose heavy, as you can see. Tapers off to the back. It's built to fly a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great little lead. That's that one. Moving on, we've got the Horizon leads.
Yep.
Again, distance leads, in line and in the swivel. Flat-sided, so you've got like 5 flat sides to these. The idea, again, you've got all the benefits of these being able to cast a long way, but they'll also just hold that little bit better than a round lead. Okay, so that's that one. And then probably my personal favourite, the Tri-Bomb. Again, swivelling in line, 3-sided, very dumpy, very compact, so it's got very good sort of self-hooking properties to it. Again, it flies so well, real compact little end. Very good for PVA bag work as well, if you like solid PVA bags.
Yeah, nice and small, nice and compact, brilliant for bagging. Yeah.
Great for that. Probably the best lead for PVA bag work is the flat pair, and probably one of the most popular leads out there. Again, cast reasonably well. It's not a distance lead for obvious reasons, just looking at the shape. But again, very good for self-hooking. Yeah. And again, fishing up to bars, sides of islands, it'll sit there and it'll
And again,
hold.
swivel and inline versions available.
Swivel and inline versions available.
Coming on to my favourites now. I use my river fishing, they'll cling on.
Right, yeah, great. I mean, these are exactly what they do, they cling on.
They certainly do.
Again, if you're fishing real steep bars for us carp boys, or if you're boating out long distances, and these are fantastic for that. You can also mould a bit of paste around these, so you can almost fish them like a little method.
Yeah, you've got such a big surface area. I must admit, I use them for method fishing as well.
If you're not going out
bait around it.
Yeah, if you're not going out great distances of that, it's quite easy to squeeze a bit of method bait around there and fish them like that. Again, in line.
And not just the barbel on the rivers, river carping. I mean, they'll hold in. They'll hold in anything.
Well, they are built to, like you say, to river fishing distances. You know, boating out and just basically clinging on to anything you want them to cling to, really. So that's that one.
Another favourite of
mine.
My barbel fishing.
I don't know how many barbel guys use these, but I mean, I think these are fantastic. Again, I use these a lot for method fishing rather than the method feeders, because you can really, you can squeeze a ball around this and you can actually cast it a reasonable distance if it's quite stiff.
But the obvious reason why they're called paste bombs, I mean, I just smear a piece of paste in there and it just gives wonderful attraction downstream in the rivers.
Absolutely.
And it does the same in the lakes, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. A bit of boilie paste in the winter, not even filling it up, just smoothing it, pushing it into the grooves there. Like you say, fish that with your hook bait, and you've got a really good little, very small area, nice bit of attraction leaking off of it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic for the winter months. Again, inline and swivel.
That's brilliant, Steve. Many thanks for showing me all the leads, all the setups.
No problem,
That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you, mate.
Good stuff, mate. Thanks, mate.
Well, let me give you a hand up with that fish, Ian. It's nice to see that your change of swim worked.
Yeah, it's my third move in as many days, and it's the old adage, if you're not where they're feeding, you need to get yourself there. So yeah, worked a treat.
It's one of the nice things about travelling light. I mean, I know the little Evo light you've got, it's what I use for the fishing I do, and you can just up and away in minutes and be on fish.
Absolutely ideal. I mean, I can get that out of the bag, put it up in 30
You're
seconds,
done.
and down in 30 seconds.
And it makes a difference with moving on fish like this.
Yeah.
I knew you'd had a couple. I heard the alarms going in the night.
Ooh. That is an angry carp. All right.
That is a good fish.
Top man, yeah.
It's a very good fish. Here we go.
Wow.
Fins are all flat. Yep.
It's a bit bigger than I thought it was.
Tell you what, Ian, I think that might be a 30. I knew you'd had a bit of action. I heard the alarms going regularly throughout the night.
Yep, the sexy tones of an NTXR. It's the bites haven't been absolute belters, as you've probably heard. But with the sensitivity control, you can get it bang on, and any bleep is worth getting up and having a look at.
Well, the alarms are so sensitive. Well, the sort of fishing I do a lot of the time, I've been picking up tiny little bleeps from crucians, tench, shy feeding fish, and
in those sort of circumstances, it's probably even more vital than when you're fishing them. I'm not fishing to snags or anything here. I'm fishing open water, but because the bites are so twitchy.
Oh, nice fish.
That is a lovely fish.
Nice fish. The scale pattern on that.
It's incredible. Right, okay.
Just flapping, just cover her eyes up, settle her down.
Amazingly, this fish has only been in the sack for about an hour and a half, and look how lively it is. It doesn't take them long, especially the water conditions now. It's cooling down, there's plenty of wind on the water, lots of oxygen. Okay, young lady, let's have a look at you.
That is an absolute beast of a carp, isn't that a super fish?
This DVD has been about Fox products and the way that we use them to give you the best chance of catching the carp that you're after. But you really need to know about the greatest bite alarm ever made.
Absolutely wonderful pieces of electronics, 2 years in the making, totally new generation and light years ahead of the opposition. Absolutely extreme as well. You and I put them through some incredible field testing last winter. I mean, it was a bad winter, and I know you gave yours some total abuse.
The first prototype I got, I put it on a bank stick and I put it out in the back garden.
Yep.
And I left it there. It froze and it defrosted.
Yep.
It got totally covered in snow, and the snow melted. The wind and rain and all the rest of it. And every morning and every evening when I was at home, I went and ran 6 yards of line through it to make sure it was working.
And I bet it worked every time.
And it did. And those batteries are still good today.
Absolutely. They're just so robust. 100% watertight, do everything you want them to do. They're the Micron N series. What do you love about them?
Well, the robustness for a kick-off,
Yep.
that is a great feature. One of the things I think with bite indication is a massive thing. Pressure carp very often aren't running off immediately with the bait. And with this one, with the sensitivity setting, you can set it down on the lowest. You've got windy weather, weed going through your line and whatever. You don't want to be awake all night with false bleeps. So you can have it on the lowest setting where you've got to draw some line through it to get a bleep. But once the fish is off and running, it goes into the highest sensitivity setting, and you know exactly what's going on out in the water. Then you know exactly what that carp is doing. The other thing I like, the last thing I want to be doing is hopping in and out of my bivvy, especially if it's pouring down with rain, is it's got a night light on it. Light sensitive, so as soon as it gets dark, that light pings on. If I'm getting into my bed, I don't have to get up out in the pouring rain to check if that alarm is on. I can see it visually, and obviously as the light comes up in the morning, the light goes out. It's not draining your battery all the time.
I mean, from the sort of fishing I do, I mean, I can see you've got the really heavy core lights on there, which are great if you're fishing at range, which I think you are at the moment. I mean, I sometimes, if I'm fishing for other species, crucians, bream, shy biting fish, I use really tiny indicators, and an awful lot of alarms out on the market just cannot pick up that really, really sensitive line movement when you've got a tiny bobbin on there. But these NTXRs, well, the entire Micron N series, tiny little movement, small bobbin, you get a bleep. And as soon as you've got a bleep, you've got your fish. And just picking up that tiny movement, it's part of the revolutionary new technology that's in there. No reed switches, just perfect indication, absolutely perfect. And I'll tell you another thing I love. Do you remember how difficult it used to be getting batteries sometimes? You used to order special little batteries. I had to go on the internet and try and find them.
And how expensive
they were. These ones, sealed back, 2 screws to stop any water getting in there, couple of screws, very easy to undo. And what have we got in there?
2 AA batteries.
Pick them up at your newsagents, in the superstores, pack of 24, cost you a £5. And they'll last all year. I mean, I've had these 2 in 6 months, 8 months, and they're just not going to run down in a hurry, and they're brilliant. And while I've got the back open, it shows one of the other features I love. I mean, I'm cack-handed, I'm hopeless with electronics. I think you are as well, actually. And it is just so simple to change the colour of the LEDs. I mean, that's a green one button in there, little tool that comes provided. Press it, you get a different colour up. So you can have your blues, your whites, whatever you want to use to match it with your colour of your hangers or whatever. And of course, the NTXR works with the NTX receiver. And it's just so simple to actually press a button, turn them on, beep, 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 all the alarms synced.
And the light that you've chosen on the head
is on the indicator as well. So in the middle of the night, you get an absolute screamer. You see a yellow light, you know the right-hand rod's come. You know exactly where to run. Mind you, we're usually in a blind panic, so we just run out anyway.
Yeah, situation normal.
Absolutely, situation normal. And I know one of the things you were telling me about as well, you love the sounds they make.
Yeah, I don't like the high-pitched whine in the middle of the night that makes my ears bleed. And the tone I've got this set on is just the sexiest tone going. It's like a sexy chick talking to me in the middle of the night. And that is just the sweetest sound.
Mind you, I'm even worse. I don't like the sound at all. And one of the nice things about this receiver, you can turn the sound right down on it. You can flick on the vibrate switch, so I don't get any sound at all. All I get is a nice little vibrate in my pocket. I'm on the fish, I'm on the rods, I've got my fish in the net, I've done the do before anybody knows I've even caught a fish, and that is magic.
Nice touch. And what about the range of the receiver then, Ian?
The range is absolutely superb, but of course we mustn't ever condone people being off their rods, even though these receivers will work a long way away from the units. But it makes a massive difference because you know you're going to get a signal whatever terrain you're fishing in. Whether you've got trees or bushes in the way, maybe you've just poked a rod round the corner in the trees or something, you know you're going to get that signal. And you can test it as well. All you need to do is hold down the switch, and you know you've got your signal. You can pop that in your bivvy, turn down the switch, pop it on, and you know you've got your signal. So you always know the alarm is working.
That is a carp safety or a fish safety device.
It is.
You know, you can't have fish running off without being aware of it. So yeah, that is a wonderful feature.
Absolutely. And we've been looking at the NT XR, the top of the range here.
Yeah.
And there's also a couple of other models in the series. There's the Micron N, a really cheap entry-level model, packed full of features, same sort of technology, but lesser spec. And the mid-range, the one I was looking at here, the NX, which has got all of the spec of the NT XR, but just isn't compatible with the receiver. So it's a whole new range, and it just, the technology that went into it, the boffins that put this together, it really is outrageous. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be one hell of a long time before someone else comes up with a technology that's packed in one of these little babies.
If ever, and one final thing, obviously with an item, a tackle like that, you want to look after it and the covers that go on. Just run us through what happens when you put the cover on.
Absolutely, I'm the same as you. I finished the session, I want to be home, I want to be somewhere else, alarm's off, in the kit bag, off I go. But no, a special little resets in the hard case, pop it on, and the alarm that was on is now switched off.
Yeah.
Absolutely small touches that make a massive difference to a product.
Without a doubt. And it's
great.
all those small touches that have added up to a totally unique and seriously advanced bite alarm that has made a massive difference to my fishing and will make a massive difference to everybody else.
You and me both. Right, I suggest you get yours switched back on, because I know you've got carp crashing in front of you, and I'm going to head into that back bay where I've got a date tonight with one big catfish.
And I'm going to come and watch.
See you later, Ian.
See you later, mate. One of them times that sort of it seemed a bit inevitable I was going to get a bite. I put another, I don't know, 3 or 4 kilos of boilies out there earlier, and within, I don't know, 30 minutes there was fish just fizzing. It was like a jacuzzi out there. It's off the back of a very small bar, and I always bang on about fishing at the base of these features, even in the warmer weather, because that's where all the food, natural food collects. And sure enough, that's the one that's gone. It's taking full advantage.